Okay, this time we're going to look at two items here, two small pocket computers from the mid-90s. They're the Psion 3 and the 5. Now the box touts that it's the world's most powerful pocket-sized computer. Well, the 3, 256k at the time, was quite a lot of memory for something so small. It was the equivalent to a lot of home computers at the time. It had a plastic chiclety style keyboard. It was more of a tic-tac style. It gave quite a nice feedback and you could feel the keys being depressed. The screen was quite small. It wasn't backlit, so in dark conditions it was hard to read and hard to see, and in very bright conditions it was hard to see. But once closed, it was physically not any bigger than a modern mobile phone. And with the 3 or either sign, you could get extensional memory cards, which is this one's chess, finance pack and spreadsheet, and they would extend the capabilities of each machine. Now the 5 came out a few years later. It had a nicer keyboard. It was a 2/3 size standard proper tactile keyboard. It was actually quite a nice, pleasant thing to type on. You could actually do your notes and do anything that you wanted to, your calculations on your spreadsheet, or write a few jot down your notes if you were writing a book and so on. And it felt quite nice. It was nice to use. By turning on the machine, you were greeted with, this time, the little word processor. Okay, and you type away and it appears on the screen, and it's quite nice. It works really well. There's no real lag about anything as well, and it's quite easy to change to your spreadsheet. It's all touch sensitive. Your data that you want to, like your little phone cards, your agenda, what you're doing, time, which time zone you're in, your calculator, even a sketch pad, all touch sensitive, and it reacts quite quickly. It's quite nice to use. Then you have your extras such as your program, your comms to record, voice recorder, and you can also make things larger as well. So if I go back to Word and I want to zoom in, I'll just press the zoom in button, and there you go, things zoom in and out just by using the slider, which is quite nice. You could connect it up to a printer. You're always reminded of the time, and it is nice to use. It's very useful. It's useful today. So if you're traveling around, you can put your notes on, use it as a scheduler, use it to do your finances or whatever you want to do on it, or save your notes to it, and it works a treat. It's actually useful today. I prefer this to trying to put my notes on a mobile phone with that glass touch screen, which isn't very nice to type on, and you tend to make a lot of typing mistakes. Whereas this, you can physically feel the keys, and the screen itself is the same size as an iPhone XS. It's quite a big screen. It's very usable, and it folds away in a very neat fashion, because as it folds, the keyboard and the screen fold, and it folds down to something which is no bigger than a mobile phone. And if you don't want to use your fingers, you can use the pop-out stylus, which is quite handy to use. It's some people don't like styluses, which just pull it out and then pop it away when you're done. It's a nice little machine. The 5 is much better than the 3. Obviously it's a generation apart, And is it useful today? It genuinely is. It can be used for most of the things that you might want to pull your mobile phone out for. It can be used for most of your everyday tasks, and if you are trying to write something, it's a lot easier to type it on a decent keyboard than it is on a glass screen, touch screen, and you tend to make a lot fewer mistakes while using a proper keyboard. Does it have a place in our modern world? Yes, it does, because it's still genuinely useful. It's genuinely useful. You can update or upload your work to a PC using the link. It's a bit fiddly in sort of today's USB driven world, but it's not a problem. You can do it, and it does the job quite well. Would I recommend you getting one and using one? Well, the biggest problem, which I'll open this and put it back, is the hinges. The biggest problem is the way it's hinged together on very fragile hinges here and here. I actually have another one, and the hinges have broken, but then again, you're talking 25 or so years, so it's not weathered too bad really. But if you get hold of one and you're not worried about the hinges going or snapping, because you can afford to get another spare one for spare use, well, use it. That's what they were built for. They were built to be used, and they do make a nice little alternative to a laptop. Okay, is it genuinely useful? Yes, it is. It's genuinely useful. If you're not worried about it breaking and you're not worried about the hinges, which seem to last quite a long time, 25 years, which is a long time for anything, it's more useful than tapping away on a phone if you need to make reasonably extensive notes. Would I use one today? Yeah, I would. I prefer it to my phone because I don't like the keyboard on it or the touch screen on a phone, because I prefer a proper keyboard, which I think a lot of people do now. They seem to be moving away from glass screens to keyboards again. It's just horses for courses really. I mean, I like it, but you do have to understand that things do move on, but laptops are generally getting bigger and more bulky to carry around, and phones are getting more twitchy to type on because the keyboards are not nice. There's too many options on a lot of the keyboards, and also bringing up a word processor on your phone is sometimes a pain. By the time you found it, added the app, sorted it out, adjusted your screen, gone back to the keypad, and then added in what you need, you might as well have just written it down on a piece of paper a lot of the time. Where this, you open it up, it's instant, you do your stuff, you shut the lid, it's saved, it's done. So yeah, it is worth using. But things do move on. Like the camera I'm using today is 45 megapixels, which is quite a chunk of pixels it's throwing around on the screen to record. Now the camera that you were using a year ago might have only been 13 megapixels, so there are leaps and bounds. Would you see the difference on a normal HD screen? No, you probably wouldn't, but then there's future proofing. Whereas this was more future proof than they actually realised from the start. Because it's designed to do only a handful of things: your word processing, your spreadsheets, your database, your agenda, your time, your calculator, and your sketchpad if you need it. That's it. It's an appliance that's designed to do only what it says on the tin. And that now, with our multi-use devices which have glitches and throw out fits and apps that suddenly stop working because another app's interfered with it, it's a breath of fresh air. And I think we should be going back to appliances that were designed for one or two purposes rather than these multi-purpose appliances. For example, if I have an old Atari ST linked to and using it as a sequencer for a keyboard, it doesn't glitch, it doesn't crash, because it has nothing running in the background to cause it to glitch or crash. Whereas my PC doing the same job will glitch and crash because Windows has a fit or it wants an update halfway through. So I think using appliances that actually have one job is, on balance, a lot of the times more reliable than our multi-use systems that we have now.